Hello, Ukrainianists of the Empire of Zge. Today we are going to talk about a topic that involves two incredible topics, for me at least. Internet controversies and Washingtonian mantas. Dude, yeah, Washingtonia is back. I told you there will be Washingtonia for a while. Washingtonia is the country version of the purple guy, William Afton. He's the news I always come back in my channel. Just like Donald Trump, who is the origin of the topic we are going to talk about today. Pardon my English. What topic are we talking about? Well, recently there were the Washingtonia Shura elections and Donald Trump won. Well, I already said it. He's the real I always come back. And he won. Obviously, being a political issue, and especially being Donald Trump, Washington got super turbulent. Clowns celebrating Trump's victory, and then other clowns getting paranoid that he's gonna cause the end of the world and turn Washington into the Republic of Gilead. Yes, from the Handmaid's Tale. I ask the obvious question. Why didn't he do it in his first term? LOL. In fact, he didn't even start any new war, or I'll call it Koran, during his presidency. Which is really weird considering how crazy he is and the fact that he was an American president. And those guys are always starting Koranjan. Which is the only reason I think people calling Trump Hitler are exaggerating. Because there is no proof of Trump doing a third world Koran or a Holocaust 2.4 during his presidency, despite having the power to do so if he's that fascist. Let's call things as they are. Trump is an asshole, not a nature, which doesn't make him any less hateable. My English. What I'm really interested in talking about today is what happened on TikTok clock after clown Donald Trump won. It so happens that a trend started going viral on TikTok that consisted of women shaving their heads and saying they weren't going to with any man for the next 4 years, the Trump's presidency. Why? Look it up. Look, I'm not going to criticize the fact that they protest signs. Really, anyone has the right to protest against things they don't agree with. And Donald Trump is not exactly a good person. Also, this trending topic is a pretty harmless form of protest. The funny thing is that they are doing this as if Trump is gonna listen to them. Come on, bro. The guy already survived 2 attempts at being killed. I don't think a trend on TikTok is gonna make him get away. They can, but it's a little ridiculous. Although I won't deny that it's kind of funny. I will not actually be making this video if it stayed there, but it doesn't stay there. If you heard right, I mentioned that part of the weird trend was that they weren't gonna with any man during Trump's presidency. Everything I explained was actually to give context to the mantra that I think is the origin of all this. Remember that we came here to talk about American mantras, not silly TikTok threads. In this case, I came to talk about a mantra that I already mentioned in the video of the mantra that if you're against abortion, you're racist. But that I only mentioned it superficially because in that video I focused it mainly on the aforementioned mantra because I consider it even more ridiculous than this. First, we already saw that the strange TikTok trend we are seeing was that these women would avoid having with men while Trump was the American emperor. And what would happen if they didn't? Pregnancies, obviously. And here is my theory. I have to explain so many ridiculous stuff about Washingtonia to give a theory that if it weren't about Washingtonia would sound like I ate a lot of hypnoshrooms. They are paranoid that Washingtonia is gonna become the Republic of Gilead because of Trump. Well, in the Spanish version of this video, I explained this in a different way, but you all are English speakers, and well, I guess some of y'all know what is this about, no? But if someone don't know, well, we'll see. The Republic of Gilead is a fictional country from the novel The Handmaid's Tale, which is about a hypothetical story in which Washingtonia becomes a misogynist dystopia. What does this have to do with a TikTok trend? Well, the thing is, and listen carefully to what I'm gonna tell y'all. On the American internet, or at least in the most rogue forums and echo chambers there, the mantra that I have to give so much context for today is this: that Trump and the anti-abortionists, or anti-choicers like works call them, want to turn Washingtonia into a misogynist dystopia like Republic of Gilead. No, I'm not joking. I wish I were. I have plenty of evidence that they believe that. They often talk about the overturning of Roe vs. Wade, or the fact that it's now illegal to have an abortion in half of Washingtonia as an argument or proof that Washingtonia is going to become, or is becoming, misogyny land 3, because 1 is Iran and 2 is Afghanistan. And they accuse pro-lifers, people who are against abortion, of being misogynists who want to make Gilead a reality. Because obviously Enta and Cry, the best person in the world, are gonna want not do that. I'll be honest, I've been thinking about dealing with this mantra since I was making the other video about the mantra that if you're against abortion, you're racist, sure, but I was too lazy. Apart, the English version gave me even more laziness because, well, my English is so bad. But now it was a good time to do it. Very later, but well, taking advantage of the controversy about this world TikTok trend, It's one of the oldest, most burned out, and most archaic work mantras in their book of cheap tricks and ad hominems, but for some reason they are still using it in 2024. As if they still want to convince Enta from Coin that she's an internalized misogynist and that every empowered woman has to be pro-abortion without restrictions, as if it were Canada. Canada thinks it's the real supreme country for that, or else she's looking to please men, which in itself is a pretty sexist stereotype. Self-projections are another example of I always come back, apparently. The I always come back meme itself is an example of I always come back. It always comes back. And the final thread. What the heck does Trump have to do with this Gilead mantra or whatever? Well, since 3 of the 6 judges who overturned Roe vs. Wade were appointed by Trump, Trump is indirectly responsible for half of Washington banning the procedure that begins with A and which is illegal to speak about in Entafon castle. That's it. That's why so much paranoia, because he won. Because obviously during his first term was a danger because the oppressive capitalist heteropatriarchy. I'm gonna cut that joke because it's obvious that it's sarcasm. Just because Trump is a clown doesn't mean that getting pregnant now means writing your death sentence, please. And as much as they like to compare Republicans and Afghanistan, I don't remember that in today's Texas, women had to be subject to their husbands. Come on. An Afghan woman hears you crying and comparing Texas to Afghanistan and will call you a snowflake. Because for you, Texas is Afghanistan just by banning abortion, then you don't know a bit about Afghanistan. And I might overthink it and think you're trivializing that women there have to endure. But what can you expect from gringos who don't even know geography? The other ridiculous is that they say, it's just that the overturning of Roe vs. Wade was done by heteropatriarchal men deciding on women's bodies. Chick. And the fact that there was a woman between those men voting in favor of that supposedly misogynist overturning doesn't count, right? Besides, the original Roe vs. Wade decision was carried out exclusively by men. One question: why are rogues so insistent to say that the fact that 5 men and 1 woman say that each state should legislate abortion as citizens prefer it something misogynist and fascist, but instead they say that the fact that 7 men and only men decided to legalize it at the federal level without any democracy is democracy and social progress. Not to mention that the anti-abortion law in Mississippi that they cried against a few years ago was planned by a woman, not by a man. They love using fascist as an insult, but in such a dumb way that I think George Orwell would tell them they don't understand what that word means. Same with the word misogyny. I don't find that strange coming from people who are probably the same ones who find cultural appropriation in a kimono. And speaking of cultural appropriation, remember that I started talking about TikTok's viral trend that they shave their heads and we're gonna stop sex with any man while Trump was president, right? Well, I forgot to mention that that trend was called 4B. And what's so important about mentioning it again, that it didn't actually originate in Washington, but in South Korea. It turns out that a few years ago, this movement was formed in South Korea as a form of protest against the murder of a woman whose murder literally said that he did it because women ignored him. And yet he was not charged with a hate crime charge. The name 4B stands for no's. No to sex, no to romance, no to motherhood, and no to marriage. And it's because B in Korean means no. The point here is that the movement we were talking about at the beginning actually arose in South Korea, but there the protest made sense. East Asian countries are not the most feminist, let's say, and it's understandable that they protested because they were protesting against a real problem, especially because a guy literally murdered a woman because misogyny. Although, as always happens with any movement that arises for a valid reason, it ends up going off course and having its toxic sub-branches. In this case, some misandric sub-branches and, for some reason, also homophobic ones. The point is that it started making sense, but it started in South Korea instead of Washington. Why am I explaining all this? Because that what started to happen with that Tok Tok trend in Washington is nothing more than copying the Korean way of protesting, but for a more ridiculous reason. Like, in Korea it started in response to a femicide, or at least that was the straw that broke the camel's back. While in Washington they started to copy them because a guy came back and they are afraid that he will make a misogynist dystopia, even though he already had the opportunity to do it and didn't do it. Like, if he's gonna do it, why did he wait if he already had a chance before? Come on, Trump is a scammer. And it's that they overestimate him too much, both his fans and his haters. My point with this is that American TikTokers are appropriating and distorting a movement that started in an Asian country in a different context. According to the dumb logic that wokes use in Washington, that could be considered cultural appropriation, which they supposedly hate. So, as for the mantra that if you are against abortion, you are a misogynist, sure. What do you want me to say? Right, that there are many women against abortion? That has already been said. The problem is that even if you explain it, crowds think that if you are against abortion, it means that you hate women. Like I say, I think abortion is a murder and that it should be illegal, and someone takes it as if I am declaring a Quran against women. I'm not joking. And well, no, you know, believing that abortion is a murder doesn't mean that I hate women or want to create the Republic of Gilead in real life. I don't know what kind of logic is that. The worst thing is that I'm sure that accusing someone of that for that ridiculous should be considered defamation. But since it's a defamation made by so many people, including big media in Washington, the anti-abortionists can sue them all for defamation and the wokes can go on with their thing. This mantra that Washington is becoming Gilead is quite strange for me because I remember that Washington was quite liberal on gender issues. I mean, it was one of the first countries where women could vote. Also, feminism has quite an influence in Hollywood and other media, and accusing someone of misogyny can really mess that person up. Plus, women in Washington have the freedom to decide what to do with their lives, and there are even several in political office. Wow, it's not Afghanistan as the woke claim, so claiming it's Gilead is pretty absurd. Anyway, gringos, nothing pleases them, apparently. The lesson is, before you go around paranoid that a clown is gonna cause the end of the world as we know it, ask yourself why exactly you think he's gonna do it. If he is a guy who already got temporary power once and didn't use it to unleash Ragnarok or any worldwide chaos, despite being able to do so, maybe you panic because their return is a bit of an exaggeration. Oh, and accusing millions of being intolerant or bigots because they don't think the way you want is a very absurd way of trying to manipulate a debate. And using fascist as a swear word without knowing what it means is one of the worst ways to make a fool of yourself in a discussion. Also, I don't know if it could be considered defamation. And that's the video. Comment what do you think and give it a like if you liked it, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Now I'm gonna try the best person in the world and Donald Trump to carry out the plan to an abortion in Washington. Sure.